It gets sanded to a point that people think it's, I don't know, ivory or plastic or ebony or whatever it is. They have no idea what it is. That's the beauty of those pieces.
Hi, everybody. This is Whitney Rosenson, owner of Art Dimensions. Happy holidays to all you listeners, and welcome back to Beyond the Palette. Today, my guest, and I'm very excited to interview him, is a very talented painter, photographer, and sculptor, Carlo Marcucci. And I'm really excited for you all to get to know him. Carlo is originally from Florence, Italy, and he's had many exhibitions over the years throughout the Los Angeles area. Hey, Carlo.
Hi, hello to everybody.
Welcome to Beyond the Palette. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for taking time to chat with me today. I know how busy you are, and I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready, set, go. Okay. What are you up to today or these days in your studio?
Well, I just moved to a new house, so I have this big, wide wall. I mean, it's really big and really white. And I've been staring at it for the last year. I moved there a year ago. And I tried to put different paintings I already have on the wall, and that didn't work out too well. So I decided to do a triptych, a very large triptych just for myself. So I've been working on this right there. Very loosely based on Monet's water lilies. And I'll say very loosely based.
So what materials are you using? Are you using oil or acrylic?
No, actually is mixed media. It's acrylic and ink on inkjet. So I like that combination because that allows me, for example, when you paint, you usually use like 2 or 3 layers of paint. You first just to the layout, then you go second, you make it better, and a third is a nice coat on top. So the printing on canvas eliminates the need to do that. You do the sketch on the computer, you lay out, you do sketches by paper, you scan them, and you do all that. And then you print them on the canvas, and that is your basic layout that you paint over, and that's the way I like to do things now.
Very cool. So do you embellish with paint on top of the
Sometimes, yes, I might change completely the whole thing, but there's a base underneath it, so you can kind of look where you're going. So especially if you have very precise, it has to be exactly a certain way. My work tends to be usually precise. So that saves me one base paint of color.
Right.
Pay more for the canvas, but you save on the art, on the art stuff like the paint and all the stuff you got to put on it. So
yes. Okay.
It comes out all even in the wash.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see this triptych once it's done.
Hopefully it comes out well. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, right. Well, for those listeners who don't know who you are, can you give us a brief snapshot of your journey to where you are today? And you can talk about education, art school, just a brief snapshot of your journey.
I graduated for design at the Atlanta College of Art, now it's known as SCAD in Atlanta. I wasn't planning to be a fine artist. I was planning to be, I don't know, actually originally I was thinking of going into psychology, figure it out. Then I moved to Atlanta College of Art because I was going to another college before that for a year. And I ran out of courses. They didn't have that many psychology courses. And I knew I was good with art. So I thought doing design, and I learned photography and all that stuff. And nothing. And I actually worked for 4 or 5 years as a designer. And art was really on the side. And then when I came to LA, I really got into the fine arts.
And when did you come to LA?
1990.
Okay, 1990 or so. Okay. How did you start with fine art?
Well, first job I had in Los Angeles was working as a waiter for one day. And it ended up that I think I broke most of their plates and glasses like within the first hour. The chef just told me, yeah, just sit down before you break anything else. And I was so depressed because I needed money. I was running out of money fast. LA is an expensive city. And I was, somebody interviewed me for a job at Walt Disney Imagineering as a contractor, not actually for the company, but as a subcontractor. And I actually forgot all my stuff at home and stuff. I didn't have my design items. And I ended up actually getting the job because of my paintings. I only had my fine art stuff, my fine art slides with me. So I was quite surprised, and I worked there for about a year. But then the 9 to 5 thing was not really for me. I mean, I used to go in the morning, it was dark, come out in the evening, it was dark, then go to bed, repeat, and it was just not for me. So I decided to, since I was in LA, and just like New York, it's one of the art capitals. So I thought, well, let's give it a try, and then I can always go back to design. And so I gave it a try. It worked out.
Very cool. Did you start with
I
painting, or
think,
did you start with the wall sculptures, or?
no, it was a series called EcoWorks. It was done based on, it was a mixture of Aborigine technique with the use of little pointillism, but used in a Roman mosaic format with international signage symbols, kind of like warnings, painterly warnings of it was an environmental series.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
That sounds, do you have any of those left?
I do, yes. And,
Oh, I haven't seen those.
I did those at all those paintings were done in a small apartments on Detroit Street.
Okay. I know where Detroit Street is.
And my future wife was very upset with me because I would mess up the carpet and, why are you painting there? You need your own space. Go find some place. And so that's how I did that series.
Very interesting.
Matter of fact, I think a year or two later, I think I met your mom. I think your mom came in.
Oh, that's so, yeah, in like 92, 93.
Something like that long.
Oh,
Yeah.
that warms my heart.
Yeah.
Well, my mom loved your work, and I do too. And thank you for sticking with Art Dimensions all these years. So when you were a designer, what did you design? Did you design interiors?
No, like I used to design those signs that probably people never noticed. But if you go, for example, to not here, but it was in Paris, the Disney World in Paris.
Okay.
The Disneyland there.
Yeah.
Euro Disney is called. And all those signs that's supposed to look like an African village and very expensive in the end, like exit sign, turn left, or Café de la Bruce, all that kind of stuff.
Those are fun. I picture those at Disneyland here in Anaheim, and those are awesome.
Those and at the time they're all done basically by drawing by hand and using photocopy machines to paste. We didn't have computers at the time.
Wow.
So yeah, wow. Very interesting. A lot of fun.
That's good. We like fun. Can you tell us about some of the different series that you have? So there's the chemical, I just want to mention there are the chemical still life paintings.
Yes.
There's the Wheatfield series, which are really cool wall sculptures made of pasta and wood.
Yes. There's the Golden State.
Golden State paintings.
That's for more realistic paintings about the San Joaquin Valley. Still environmental in nature, related to chemical still life.
Okay. The Staples series are assemblages made of materials we can find at office supply stores, right? Yeah. Like Staples and...
Staples. Matter of fact, yeah. I probably figured them out because I used to walk in Staples and buy an entire crate of Staples and probably couldn't figure out why this guy was walking in buying a crate of Staples.
Well, okay. And what other series do you have? And then we'll go back and we'll talk about a couple.
Well, there was a short-lived ones like there's a plexiglass series called Luce and Capsa, and those are plexiglass. There is let's say Giri Gori, which is completely abstract, but it's about reutilizing the same design and changing a little bit over and over again. Kind of like photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy. You expand it, you change it, you add it, you make a hole in it. It's the same piece.
Manipulate it. Very cool.
Manipulate it over and over again.
And then you have your abstracts.
Then general other paintings. I'm always getting bored and stuff and always changing stuff, moving around, doing new things. Some things go more, some things are just non sequiturs. So
well, I want everyone to know that these works of art you can see on Carlo's website, which is carlomarcucci.com, and Marcucci is spelled Marcucci. They're also on the Art Dimensions website, artdimensionsonline.com. All right, let's talk about the Wheatfield series for a minute. Those are so cool. Can you explain to everyone how you make those out of pasta?
Well, those are using dry pasta and dry udons and dry soba noodles, and basically are spaghetti boxes reversed out. So the structure is hidden inside. So the pasta goes on the outside and the box is in. And some pieces have plexiglass to mirror the spy windows that you see in boxes of pasta. When you buy them, you can see the little pasta inside. The interesting part of that series, more even than the staples, is that nobody can tell what they're made of. It gets sanded to a point that people think it's, I don't know, ivory or plastic or ebony or whatever it is. They have no idea what it is. That's the beauty of those pieces. Very simple geometrics, but.
And how do you construct them? You lay down the pasta piece by piece?
Well, first I design the box, which is usually wood, and then place it, and I glue this pasta one by one in a line format down. It sort of feels a little bit like doing textiles. You know, when they do the textiles with a little in the old way by hand, and they have the thing that pulls down, and then you put another one and you pull down. I don't know what the terminology is, but it feels like that. And so it becomes, you fall into a trance as you apply all these noodles and things. And the staple series came out of that series because it has this very similar modular implementation of all these materials, except that staples is harder because with pasta, you can sand it and levigate it to, you can kind of shape it as you want it. With staples, you can't. There's no forgiving. And it has to be really, really, really precise. You can't, it's amazing. Right. Yeah.
How many staples for one of your 12 by 12s? How many staples would that take to?
I don't know. It's about, depends if it's a double row, single row. It's many boxes.
So thousands.
And they're kind of heavy too. They're not that light. One matter of fact, I remember because one of the bigger ones that I did, I was holding it and it slipped and it cut my hand and it was bleeding all over the place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they're sharp.
Yeah, there they are. Yeah. I haven't been involved much with the Staples series, but the wheat fields, we've had some success with sales and rentals. They're very geometric, you know, they're shaped, they're square shaped, or you've got like a diamond shape or two squares that sort of interconnect somehow. So they're all really beautiful. I encourage the listeners.
They're very simple, but they suck up a lot of wall space, interestingly enough.
They do.
They're very powerful. Even though they're very simple, you can't really put them next to something else. They absorb at least 4 feet on each side. It's amazing.
Yeah, they make a statement. I agree with that. And the chemical still lifes, what about those?
Chemical still lives, which I think you did represent me on that too. It's a series of, it was based on a book, Diet for a Contaminated Planet. And it was about basically what do they find in produce when they analyze them at the lab. And there's all this list of pesticides, fungicide. So the series was basically based on those still lives, you know, kind of like the Dutch paintings.
Right.
Maybe not as good as the Dutch paintings, but not as masterfully.
I'm not going to comment on that.
But with the chemical formulas in the background of the pesticides that they find in it. And they're not supposed to be, I wanted something that was very mysterious, that you don't know what you're looking at. You have no idea, why is this chemical, what is it? I don't know what it is. I don't tell you what it is, but it's in the background. So you have a beautiful, perfect strawberry or a perfect apple.
Yeah, or your tomato.
Yeah. So that's that was basically the series.
And they're large scale, right?
Those were more, yeah, they were larger scale. I did some smaller ones, but generally those were on the big size.
Those are beautiful. Okay. So who or what influenced your art when you began your career? And what influences it now?
Well, I guess when I began was probably my mom. My mom is an artist too. So being around her, I used to have fun going to her studio and painting while she was painting, doing her thing, and I was doing my thing, and you have the music on. But I don't know if I'm probably influenced by many things. I can't really pinpoint one artist or another. There's a wonderful, great artist all over the place that I like. I can mention like Tara Donovan, for example, or even one that there's a Gisela Colon that I have a piece of. She's an LA artist. There's a lot of artists, but I think I get my inspiration more from everyday observations. It could be a mosaic. It could be a bunch of pencils sitting on a shelf. Or it could be, I don't know where it comes from, but it doesn't really come from art. It comes from other stuff.
From everyday objects. And what about from nature or?
Not so much. Sometimes I just see, even going to an art store, going to Staples, and you see all the staples there. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. I could do this and this with that. Or going to a hardware store. Oh, think of all that chicken wire. What can you do with chicken wire?
Well, it's so cool though, because you find the beauty in everyday objects, which is, it's really incredible.
Which I guess is arte povera. It's an Italian from the 50s, finding whatever you find, and materials that are not really thought of as art materials, and creating art.
What is the term again?
Arte povera, poor art. It was in the 50s after the war. I guess Italians didn't have anything to paint with, I guess, basically.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it was made, the arte povera was more conceived with art that was really trash, things found on the road, whatever. My work is not, I go to the store and buy, and sometimes it costs a lot of money to buy, but it's made with simple materials,
right.
Poor materials, not designed for art.
Well, like pasta, like staples,
rubber bands, I don't know, whatever it is that looks interesting.
All right, describe your aesthetic in 3 words.
My aesthetic, I would say simple composition, detailed, and striving for elegance.
Okay, I like that. Now let's expand on one of those. Which one?
Well, I would say detail, because I guess I love sometimes what artists can do, complete no detail whatsoever. And I try to sometimes accomplish that, and I always end up fussing around the smallest details, and I can't get away from it. And I suspect it's probably because I'm very nearsighted. So maybe that is the reason why I try to find detail in everything, because I don't have it naturally. And I try, which would be interesting to know if people that have good vision, maybe they go for the fuzzy because they don't need to.
I don't know if it's like saying all the Impressionists had a.
Yeah. Because I really spend, the smallest little detail, I go try to fix it, and I know nobody will notice it, but I notice it.
No, yeah, you're detail oriented for sure. Well, any advice for emerging artists who might be listening to this podcast?
I would say don't expect to make money with fine art. unless you go into the general arts, the commercial arts.
Okay.
There's a lot of, if you want to be successful, I think you have more chances in the commercial, especially in LA. You got the movie industry, you have the gaming industry, you have all this stuff.
Right.
But fine art, it's a tough business. It's not an easy business. There's no rules. There's no, there's nothing written down that you can follow. It's just, it's more, I call it a condition more than a career.
So be prepared for the condition. Don't expect to.
Yes. And I mean, do it for the love. It's a calling. It's not
That's great advice. Do you think creativity is something you're born with or something you're taught?
You're born with.
Okay, why?
Well, I have 2 kids, they're twins, and I can see it there already. So you have to be born. It's inborn since the earliest of age. You can't do anything about it. But you also have to have the proclivity. You have to have the skills, which is something to do with the brain and the hand and seeing things through the part of the brain. But I think you also have to have the proclivity, because just because you're good at it doesn't mean you're interested at it, and vice versa.
So you have to practice.
Because the other kid, he's just as good, but he's not really interested. That's not his thing. So one of the kids he could draw for hours and hours, and the other one, it's not his thing. I know he's good. I've seen his stuff, at school. He does, and he's just as good.
But it doesn't interest. Well, maybe it will later on.
Well, it might come into something else. It will show up as maybe he's more interested in music or some other form of art that is not
Right,
drawing. Yeah.
right.
And
Not drawing, painting, or sculpture.
some people are really interested in art but don't have the skill.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they can't make it. Sometimes, because art is really, there's a lot of factors involved in becoming so successful artist. And being a good artist is really one of the many ingredients. It's like being married, and love is the only ingredient that makes a marriage work. It doesn't work that way. There's
So what
many.
are some of the other ingredients?
Well, there's social skills, marketing, understanding how you're just part of a machinery. There's all these different wheels that have to turn, and you're just one of those wheels. It's a whole thing, and you have to accept it and understand it, I think.
To have a career as a fine artist.
Yes, understand. It's
Yeah.
really marketing, all that
And you're
stuff.
very good at that, I want to say.
I am? I don't know.
I think you are.
Okay.
And mention
I'll take it from you.
thanks. So why don't you mention the address of your gallery that people can go visit?
029 Washington Boulevard in Culver City, near La Cienega.
And it's called
6029 Contemporary.
6029 Contemporary. Okay.
But
So
if you want to see it, you got to call.
okay, so you're gonna have to call Carlo first.
Yeah, you can it's online. You can contact me and stuff.
Okay, great. What art do you show in your own home, or do you only have your own work displayed?
No, I have my mom's work. I have some artists' work besides me. I have an Arnaldo Pomodoro, for example. I have the works that my really favorite, or the ones that don't sell. I have it at my house. And sometimes I sell from my house. That's, some people come, I'm surprised. People walk in and maybe, could be like one of the contractors. Oh, I like that. Can I buy it? Just, yeah, sure. It's.
So do you have your wheat? You have your wheat fields. Some of the wheat fields are hanging.
Yes, I have some of the wheat fields at my house, and I rotate them. Sometimes I move them, I change them, depends.
And what's that painting behind you?
Well, actually, this is my mom's. This is it's called Prato, means lawn, and it's just a lawn. I don't know if you can see.
It's very pretty. Wow, and it's very big.
Very minimalist, a lawn.
I like that. And your mom, is she living? Is she still in?
Yeah, she produces art from Tuscany, on the Tuscan coast, and she sends the work to me here at the gallery. So
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So if you want to see Carlo's work and his mother's work, please go visit 6029.
There's a website for that, 6029 Contemporary. You can look at that.
Perfect. Thank you. Do you have a message behind your images or your work? When you think about all your work and all your different series, do you have a philosophy or a message behind those?
There's a lot of them have some sort of environmental message behind them. Tends to be hidden, very in the background.
Very subtle.
More than others. Wheat fields, which has a very subtle environmental about packaging and all that, marketing and all that stuff, how we consume food today. And I would say environmental message, probably.
And is it pro-environment? Is it controversial?
I don't know if it's controversial, it's more warning, more reflective about it, I would say. Just where we are.
Well, I have some fun questions that I wanted to wrap up with. This is the first time I've done this on the podcast, but
all right,
let's try this. Favorite color?
Ooh, now depends. Favorite color for what though? It just because I don't know if I have a favorite color, because it depends what I use it for. But I know to get dressed and stuff, it's probably blue because it looks good on me. I wish I could wear orange or fuchsia or something weird, but it would kill me, so I can't do that.
Okay.
Yellow or something.
What about favorite season?
Oh, fall and spring.
Okay.
And I say that because the best time to go to Italy is fall and spring, but the kids are in school, so I can't go. So I have to go when it's hot or it's cold and rainy.
Your favorite food?
Oh, carbs. Oh,
Pasta.
Oh, pasta, pizza, bread. I
Yeah.
like sushi. I like meat. I don't. I The thing I don't like much is chicken. I'm not a chicken. I like seafood. I like beef, but
All
chicken.
right, you're making me hungry. All right. And do you listen to anything when you're creating?
Yeah. Sometimes I listen to, or I can listen to a podcast, or sometimes I listen to a book. I listen to a radio station from France called FIP, which is
How do you
weird.
spell that?
It's a strange, it's like all kinds of music all stuck together. So, next song is country, the next song could be some African thing, and the next one is, I don't know,
Hip
pop.
hop?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all a jumble of different stuff all together.
What number is that or what station?
It's online. It's called FIP from Bordeaux, I think. I think it's from Bordeaux.
Very nice. Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah. And Radio Monte Carlo, just because it reminds me of my mom lives there. So I can hear Monte Carlo radio, and then I can hear her sort of think of I'm there.
That's sweet. Well, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up? This was so much
I want
fun.
to say thank you for having me on your show. I didn't even know you had a show. I mean, I knew you had it. How did you start with a show?
Well, I don't want to bore everybody, but basically I want, I was interested in podcasts and I wanted a different outlet. I wanted another way to expose, I mean, that's sort of a strange word, but to expose the artists that I work with, get their voices heard, get their work seen. And I thought, I've got the website, but now let's try the podcast. So I started in March.
Did you know how to do it before, or it was just all learn as you?
No, I took a boot camp, a podcast boot camp, and then it's pretty much learn also as you go.
Good.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for chatting with me and welcoming all of us into your creative world. Make sure you check out Carlo's incredible pieces, either on his site or mine. Also, to help us expand our reach, please rate and review Beyond the Palette. You can do that on Apple Podcasts. You can also follow at Art Dimensions on Instagram. And thanks again for listening to the show. And to Carlo and everyone out there listening, have a fantastic week and happy creating.